Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you. I'm Neelam Parshuram from IC Ventus. Thank you once again for joining this Tuesday. For those who are attending this for the first time, welcome to our weekly webinar series where every Tuesday we connect with industrial professionals, experts, and learners from elevators and escalator industry on one common platform. While we wait for few more participants to join in, I'll take a few minutes to explain what does IC do and how do we work with the industry. So ICE platform is designed to share practical knowledge, industry insights, and real world experience that can help you grow professionally and stay updated with the latest development in the industry. We are glad to see participants joining in from different location, and we truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to learn, to gain insights, and to upgrade your knowledge with us today. It's an initiative by IC Ventus. IC Ventus also organizes exhibitions, trade shows, and industry events. We create a platform that supports learning, collaboration, and business growth. IC Ventus have become a trusted bridge connecting regional markets with global opportunities. Our upcoming shows. First is IC India 2026 will be held from 3rd, 4th, and 5th December in 2026, and it is going to happen in Delhi, proudly making the capital city host of this year's edition. With strong industry support, IC has grown into the world's fourth largest exhibition for elevators and escalators, reflecting the trust and collaboration of the entire industry. So this year's exhibition is planned across a massive area of 40,000 square meters, featuring around 350 plus exhibitors, making it one of the largest gathering of vertical transportation industry in India. So plan your visit accordingly. We strongly recommend you to like spending at least 2 days to like fully experience the scale of this exhibition and the opportunities that that this exhibition is going to offer. Our next show is IC, the Monsoon Edition in Chennai, featuring the quiz, the symposium, and a dynamic industry expo scheduled for 5th, 6th, and 7th August 2027. The monsoon edition reflects the Chennai's regional weather calendar held before the monsoon season. It creates a perfect time for the industrial professionals to network the upcoming plans and projects and discuss the solutions before these operations slowdowns, typically caused by heavy rains. Our next show schedule is called IC Africa 2027. So it will be held in November 25, 26, 20, 24, sorry, 24, 25, and 26 in 2027. And it is going to happen in KICC, Nairobi. So Kenya is one of the fastest growing infrastructure markets in Africa, creating strong opportunities for the elevators and escalator industry. So this exhibition is going to like bring together the global manufacturers, suppliers, and the industrial professionals to showcase innovative and safe vertical mobility solutions for the growing African market. Next is IC Papers. So vertical transportation industry has always been built on knowledge. Knowledge shaped by experience, innovation, and real world experience. Yet much of this knowledge often remains scattered, undocumented, and limited to individuals and organizations. That's why IC Papers is created, a platform to share knowledge, showcase your journey, and connect with industrial professionals. This platform is built by the industry and for the industry to encourage learning, collaboration, and growth. If you are part of this vertical transportation ecosystem, we encourage you to visit this website called icpapers.com. And also, please do follow us on social media to get a regular updates on the industry. So, moving on to our today's session. In today's session, we are going to look at something we see every day in elevators, but rarely discuss in details. It is glass. From safety and quality testing to BIS standards and choosing the right type of glass for the right elevator application. So, today's session will give us a better understanding of the important role of glass plays in modern vertical transportation. To take us through this important topic, we are pleased to welcome Mr. Vivek Bachawat, Managing Director of JGS Glass Industry. It is a part of the Jane Glass Group with a strong 35 years legacy in the glass industry and a supplier of all kind of glass used in elevators. With his expertise in quality control and R&D of new products, we are sure today's session will be both insightful and engaging. Also, want to inform you that JGS Glass will be participating in ISEE 2026, and you will connect with them. You can connect with them at booth number 2F43 during the exhibition. A quick note for the audience. Please feel free to put down your questions in the chat box during the session. We will take up your questions at the end during Q&A round. With that, I invite Mr. Vivek to take over the session. Over to you, sir. Mr. Vivek, you are on mute.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ngamji. So we are going to start with the most important topic in elevator, which is considered one of the most least important topic, that is glass. Currently, if I talk about the original situation in India, major elevators are made of SS steels and mostly metals. But whereas glass is much favorable and it's much stronger than steel or any other alloy, I can prove it today from this part, and you'll also discuss about the BIS and the standards need to conclude this thing. So first, we'll just go through what we do. So as Ms. Neelam said, I am Mr. Vivek Bachawat from JG's Glass Industries. We are in this industry from last 35 years, and we are the first in Gujarat to get the BIS certification in architectural glass for toughened as well as laminated. So there are multiple parts, multiple things which need to be understood. Like the one you can see on the screen is the IS 2553, which is the standard for architecture. But also we are going to know about the standard for glass in elevators also. Some products which we make and which are used in elevators, just like toughened glasses, laminate glasses, also known as sandwich glass, and bend glasses, which are used into cabin and capsule glasses. Other than that, there are two more products, IGU and bulletproof, which are not so much used, but yes, fire rated, which has a great requirement right now, and many people are willing to go for it. We're going to know in detail also like which type of fire rated glass should be used by you in which kind of situation and which kind of placement. So we start out with our main topic, that is glass in elevators. Why is glass a must, or why is it important in an elevator? So first point is visual comfort. We know in India many people are having a problem of claustrophobia. Some who don't have that issue, but still when a lift stuck in between, elevator stuck between a building due to some reason, people feel suffocated because they are not able to see outside what is happening. Putting up glass would ease that, eliminate the claustrophobia, and the person who is sitting inside can see what all things are happening outside. Even he can see what preparations are being done to save him and which will make him calm. Secondly, if we talk about safety and security, so In a glass elevator, when you make the whole elevator out of glass, that is the cabin car as well as the door, it makes safe for people to travel because from outside people can view what's happening inside the cabin. If there's any kind of emergency situation and someone needs a help, the people outside can do the arrangements prior to letting the whole thing happen. Then, if we look into an architectural way, the shafts and all, like many places, if I talk for example of Hyderabad airport, you must have seen the elevators are made of glass, even the shaft are made fully of glass. So it gives a good architectural appeal, it adds to a luxury significance. Then we talk about the major part, that is the BIS compliance for elevators. Majorly, if I talk about glass, there are two compliance. First is IS 2553 Part 1, which is for architectural and general building purposes, but this covers two products. First is toughened glass, and second is the laminated glass. Second, which we are going to cover the BIS compliance is IS 17900, which most of you must be knowing has come into working from December 2022 2025. So 2025 it came into power, and now many people know about this, many don't know. So we're going to describe in detail about what glass states in this standard. First, if we talk about IS 2553, so just like I said, 2553 is for architectural glasses, but this has some part which is to be supporting in the elevators also. So if we look into the two products which are majorly used in elevators, first is a toughened glass and second is a laminated glass. In toughened glass, you must have seen, like many people, why do they go from anneal to toughen? Because when a toughened glass breaks, it breaks into small pieces and it's much stronger than an anneal glass. The major reason, if I tell you, many people are like, they tell that the glass is toughened, how can it break? But to be very frank, toughened glass is not an unbreakable glass. Toughened glass is a safety glass. Safety glass in terms, if it breaks, it won't injure the person standing near it or standing just below it. It won't harm him as major as any glass would. So always remember that a toughened glass is a safety glass and not an unbreakable glass. So if we talk about the standard, the first thing that comes into the mind is particle count test. This is a must happen test for a toughened glass, which states that when a toughened glass breaks, the particles, the pieces which are being formed inside should be with a minimum quantity that the government has stated, and we need to follow it. Sorry. If the particles are less than the given standard or are more than the above limit, then the glass is not properly toughened, or it's very fastly toughened, which is not a good point. Secondly, if we talk about laminated glass majorly have three tests. That is the boil test, impact test, and bake test. If I talk about boil and bake test, there is only one different, that is water and air. In a boil test, what we do is we make a laminate glass and we put it into 100 degree of boiling water for around 2 hours to see how the interlayer, the glass with the interlayer, is reacting with the boiling water. Also, if we go with the second point, that is the bake test. So the bake test is the same 100 degree, but rather than putting up into hot water, we use hot air up to 100 degrees Celsius to cover up the whole glass and see if there are any bubble formation or any delamination happening. If in any of the two testing, if the glass delaminates, then it is not a good quality glass. Always know that these two testings are a must, and you should always ask your vendor for a certificate for these tests that have been done on your product. Also, the impact test is something that comes into IS 17900, and we'll get to know about this in detail in further slides. The second which comes is IS 17900 Part 2, that is the standard for glass. If we talk about the major points that it covers, it is that laminated glass should be used in elevators, because if a toughened glass breaks, it breaks and it falls apart, which will not hurt a adult person but can hurt or injure a minor child. So putting up a laminated glass is a plus point because the glass will break, but it won't fall out, it won't spread anywhere else. Then the pendulum shock test, which I told is the impact test, which is a good requirement because a human impact of a weight around 45 to 50 kg, the glass should be able to bear that thing. Then we talk about the fixing. The glass should be fixed, mechanically gripped, and should frame properly. It shouldn't be like just putting up the stickers and all and just placing it over in a roughly way. It should be done in a proper way so that the glass can work to its full strength. Always know that the toughened or laminated glass which you are purchasing should have the ISI mark on it and the vendor's logo on it. Even the shaft glasses which you make, the shaft which is made for out of glass should be made from laminated glass, because if the shaft breaks or any of the glass breaks in the inside the shaft, it won't hurt the person inside the elevator, but the person moving around the shaft could get injured from it. So now we talk in detail about the human impact test, that is also known as the pendulum impact test. So what does it say? The apparatus which you can see right now is currently installed in our industry. So the point where you can see there are two wheels over there is the weight, which is around 45 to 50 kg, and this weight will be free thrown from the above angle onto the glass. Now this has a standard which says if the glass is being tested for landing doors, the distance will be around 800 mm from the glass, and if we are testing it for the cabin glass, then it will go from 1000 millimeters. So this is a testing which is must, because in this point, if the glass breaks, it is not a proper glass, because a toughened glass, like I said, is 4 to 5 times stronger than an annealed glass. So 50 kg, 45, 50 kg is an ideal weight. Why it is called a human impact test? So just for an example, there's a door put up in a hospital or a mall, an auto closing door. If it fails and a person goes and just bangs with it, the glass shouldn't break. So this thing is the point that is being saved over here, that the glass should bear a load around 40 to 50 kg from a height of around 800 mm to 1000 mm. Second, if we talk in detail about the tempered glasses, also known as the toughened glass, just like I told that it is 4 to 5 times stronger than a standard glass, but always make sure this is the particle fragment test. How it is done? So from anything thickness starting from 4 mm up to 12 mm or 15 or 19 mm, a sample is made of size around 1100 by 360 mm, 1100 mm by 360 mm, and after toughening from edge, we leave around 100 mm space and we break the glass. After breaking the glass, we put a small box of 50 mm by 50 mm onto the glass, and the particles are counted inside the box. If the particles are less than 40, then the glass is a fail. Even if the particles are more than 90, then also it is a fail. The particle should always come between 40 to 90, and this is also a point which should be stated in your test certificate which you ask from your vendor. Now, if we talk about the laminated glass for landing doors, I know many people have a question. Even the Indian market is not willing to pay so much for laminated glass. But why is laminated glass much better than a toughened glass? Because toughened, like I earlier said, if it breaks, it will fall out, it can injure someone. Whereas a laminate glass will break and be at the same place. It won't move a bit. Even the sharples or the glass breakage points over there won't fall out. So just like you can see the image, most of the people know these are the frameless doors. There are two kinds of doors in elevators or of the major topic. One is frame doors and other is the frameless doors. In frameless doors, the edges are open, and always remember that in a toughened glass, the edges are the weakest part. If someone hits the edges very strongly, the glass can break. So in a glass like this, if the glass breaks, an elevator like this, if the glass breaks on these doors, you know the client won't be able to use the elevator for next 4 days or 5 days, or how much time it takes for the agency to repair it up. But if you use laminated glass, that too SGP laminated glass, then the client can use the lift till the day you come and repair it back. So it gives a plus point to all the clients, it gives a plus point to the companies also, and it also increases the safety. In detail, if we talk about what is the difference between laminated and tempered glass? So the image which you can see in this, the one where I'm pointing the mouse right now, that's the right side bottom, is a tempered glass. Like you can see, it broke and it fell down. Whereas if you see the second image on top of that, that is a PVB laminated glass. So what is a PVB? PVB is a polyvinyl butyl. So this is a kind of interlayer which is being put between two toughened glasses to keep the adhesion and grab both the glass. But a PEB is flexible, so if it breaks, it will bend up. So the only point I'm telling you about these two products in detail in further slide, because I'll tell you at which place and which application which film should be used. I'm not telling about putting all places PEB or putting all places SGP. There are certain applications where SGP should be used, and there are certain applications where PEB should be used. So if we go in detail of this, just like I told, PVB is polyvinyl butyl and SGP is Glass Plus. Also, there is a material known as DG41, same as that. So what are the main difference? Elastic and flexible. Just like I told you, if a PVB breaks, the glass would fold itself. But if a SGP breaks, the glass wouldn't fold and it will stay at the same position. If it's vertically, it will stay vertical. It won't bend over or it won't separate from itself. Then the tear strength is more. So if a PPV breaks, someone can push and tear it out, whereas a SGP is not so easy to push or tear out. Main point of using SGP and PVB, like I said, the PVB should be used in doors which are fully framed, just like the frame doors. But when you're going off for a frameless door, where you only have the fitting at the top and the bottom and the whole door is of glass, you should go for SGP, because in a framed door, your glass is getting a support from all four sides. Whereas in a frameless door, your glass is getting support from only top and bottom. So in that case, if the glass is PEB, it will break and it will start to wave in a flexible manner, which we don't need in that, because that is much riskier. If elevator is running on, for example, if the elevator is running from a 10th floor going to ground floor, and in between, if these frameless door breaks, it will be very unsafe for that elevator to travel all the way to the ground. But if there's a SGP, there's no issue. It will just work as if the glass has not broke. But even after breaking, it is stiffer. Now, the main part which everyone I know has been waiting for, that is fire rated glass. So many people know that there's a fire rated glass, but do you know that there are multiple parts inside it? So there are mainly three variations in a fire rated glass. First is the E, that is integrity. Second is EW, that is fire and radiation. And third is EL, that is integrity and insulation. So the EL is the standard glass, which is not used in India so much. The majorly used in India are E and EW. So we'll be discussing about them. First, we talk about E. So E is a monolithic glass. Monolithic as in it is a single glass which has the power of preventing up to 1000-degree heats according to the time limit you purchase. It comes into multiple variation starting from 30 minutes up to 120 minutes. Now, there's a disadvantage of this glass. The disadvantage is, if, for example, in an elevator you have put up a monolithic E-rated fire rated glass, there's a fire outside the elevator and a person is standing inside. The fire won't be able to even touch that person or put any harm to that person, but the heat coming from the fire will cross through the glass and that can cause a little bit of skin burn marks or could be the reddening of skin. So that is not a good point if I say about the E-standard glass. But just like I said, every product has its application. E-standard can be used at certain application. E-standard cannot be used at certain applications, just like I said. Then the other variation, that is the EW, that is fire and radiation. This is the biolithic glass where you can see in the image there are two glasses. In between there's a resilient interlayer which controls the fire and controls the heat from the fire. So what happens is, if we put this glass in the same situation where the person is standing inside the elevator and there's a fire outside up to 800 900 degrees. So what will happen is the interlayer between the glass will foam up itself and will develop from 1 mm, it will go up to 5 mm, creating a barrier for the fire to cross as well as the heat to cross. So if I give a open and a conclusive decision to it, if E-rated glass is being touched from the inside, you will feel the heat, the glass is heated up, even it can burn your hand. But if you put the same hand on an EW glass, you won't feel a heat and it won't even make you feel that there's a fire going on the other side. Same, just like I said, EW also comes into multiple variations, that is from starting from 30 minutes up to 60, then 90 and even 120. Depends on your requirement and depends what place you are willing to use. Even in a recent news, I heard that the government is putting some sanctions on fire lift. The buildings which are having a fire lift should be fire rated, and it's really important because that is for emergency. And if in an emergency the lift is not fire rated, like in a city like Mumbai or Chennai, where the buildings are going up to 50, 60, 70 floors, this should be a very safety concern and everyone should keep this in point. And thank you. And now I'm open to all your questions.
Thank you, Vivekji, for your informative presentation and for sharing your expertise. We are now open for the floor to the questions. Audience, you can drop down your questions in Q&A box. There is one question which has come up. What is the advantage of using glass over steel apart from transparency factor?
Okay, so if I tell about this point, for example, if a lift gets a free fall, the motor fails and the lift free falls from a second or third floor, when it will fall down, the steel will bend itself. But if you're using, just as like I said, if you're using a SGP laminated glass, even after falling from second or third floor, the sheet won't bend and it won't cause any harm inside. Just I'll give you an example. SGP glass, you just try it once. SGP glass is laminated. You have a sample of 300 by 300 for it, and you are also having a sample of a steel. You try breaking both. At a point, the steel will cut, but the glass won't cut at all. So it gives a good strength to the lift. And just because I'm saying SGP, PVB won't be a success in this, when you're going for cabin glasses, you're making the capsule lift with a bent glass inside it. Always make sure you use SGP and not PVB because in a fatal accident, the glass which is having PVB will bend, but the SGP won't.
Great. We'll move on to next question. Next question is from Mr. Karthik. Does TPU can be used as interlayer, and how will TEH tech market response?
So to be very frank, TPU can't be used. The reason is TPU is good at stopping sharples, but it is not uh, good at strength. Because when TPU, when a glass is made out of TPU, and if it breaks, it will just bend like a normal PEB. Whereas SGP is much preferred for glasses. Yeah, if you're using it into frame doors, then TPU can be an option. But TPU cost will go much higher as compared to PVB, which will automatically increase the cost for an elevator. TPU is totally a choice of the client. If he wants, he can go for it, but only for frame doors and not for frameless doors.
Great. We'll move on to next question. Next question is, what is the minimum thickness specified in the standards for glass?
The standard for minimum thickness starts from 10 mm, that is 10 mm to 13 mm depending on the application where you're using it. If it's in a door, it is good to go for 10 or 13. If you are going for a cabin door, it is suggested to go for up to 16, that is 8 mm plus 8 mm, and in between the interlayer is 1.52.
Great. Our next question is from Mr. Ulhas. What is the tolerance and thickness of glass where are approved for elevator car?
So the thickness, if I tell about, normally the glass thicknesses are fixed. The glass thickness is up to 1 mm tolerance, but we are not facing that. If you ask me for a 10 mm laminated glass, I'll suggest you to go for 5 plus 5, and in between we'll put a 0.76 interlayer. At the time of process, that 0.76 interlayer will press and be shifted from 0.76 to 0.5 after the pressing and vacuuming process. So whenever you're putting up a glass in a glass elevator cabin, whatever thickness you're asking your vendor, is it from 10 mm, 13 or 15 mm, always try keeping a tolerance of 1 mm because sometimes the interlayer doesn't press as properly as it's needed and sometimes it stays intact because SGP doesn't press so much. If I put a 1.5 mm SGP, the after pressing also the SGP will be 1.5, but the PUB will go from 1.5 to 1.2 or 1.1.
Can we move to next question?
Yeah.
Is having just fire rated glass or a fire rated steel enough to make a fire rated door?
No. This is a question which is really needed to be answered. Many people think that if I'm making a cabin of whole fire-rated steel, tested fire-rated steel, and I'm putting a fire-rated glass in the frame, my elevator is fire-rated. No. When there is a steel and there is a glass, you know it comes to a point where they stick together. The space between this is the place from where the smoke or the heat can come inside. Even the tape which you're using to fix it up will melt due to the temperature of the fire. So there are specific tapes known as ceramic tapes, also known as Kerafix. One which we have in with us is a tape which is tested up to 1000 degrees Celsius for fire rated glasses. And whenever you're making a lift with fire rated glass and fire rated steel, always use the ceramic and the Kerafix tape inside it so that at times of emergency the tape won't melt and it would bear the temperature with the glass and the steel.
Okay. There is next question is what type of glass would be suggested for a full glass cabin car?
If you're going for a full glass cabin car, if it's a square, then you can go from 8 plus 8, or you can go 6 plus 6. But if you're going for a bent glass, always remember that you should go from 8 mm. And if you have the space and if you have the frame made for it, go for 10 plus 10, that is 20 mm. Because it's a cabin, by chance, even if it breaks, it won't be very easy for the person inside, because if it breaks, it will be a proper opening for some person to have an accident or get fall from there. So it's better to go for 10 plus 10, because toughened laminated 10 plus 10 glass is much stronger as compared to a 6 plus 6 or 8 plus 8.
Okay. Moving on to next question. Uh, can glass be used in flooring for an elevator?
Yes, it can be used. We have applications where we have put up laminated glasses into the glass floorings, as well as also we have supplied these kind of glasses for glass bridge. Just like you would have known, in Vantara, there is a glass bridge being developed where we have supplied the glasses for flooring. So it's a multi-layer lamination glass and it can bear the load. And what we have tested is we have tested around putting up a truck of around 20 tons on that glass, and the glass didn't break, and it absorbed the whole vibration and the weight load.
There is one question from Mr. Ravi. Kindly share your presentation if you can, please. Thanks. Ravi from Sri Lanka. Okay. Further, can I know what the ENEW ABBR version given for safety glass are as per the world standard, please?
So, just like I said, E and EW, E is for integrity. It means that the fire will be stopped, but the heat won't. Whereas EW is integrity and radiation. It means that the fire will be stopped and radiation that is coming from the fire will also be stopped. So basically, E and EW, what everyone says, if I talk about the European market, what they say is E is an integrity and EW is integrity with radiation.
Mr. Ulhas is saying thanks, Vivek, for the informative presentation.
You're very welcome, sir, and I hope you
Uh,
all liked it.
yes. And moving on to next question. If a glass elevator has to be installed in within a glass shaft, what glass should be used to build that shaft?
So, just like I told inside my presentation, that when you're building a shaft fully of glass, you should always make sure that the glass which you're using should be laminated, because the glass breaking won't hurt the person inside the lift but will hurt the person outside. Toughened glasses are safety glasses, no doubt. But when a toughened glass falls from a height of around 8th or ninth floor, from the gravity, the speed of that glass will be so much that even that can hurt a person below. So it's better to go for laminated glass for a shaft. And also for cabin cars, lamination is the best because it won't go apart. If I talk in terms of elevator, elevator is a cabin which is taking a person up to the top floor and getting it down. So it is for convenience, but if we talk about safety, it needs to be that safe also. In many countries where I have visited right now, maybe China or maybe some Germany or places, they have been totally shifted from toughen to laminate, and the elevators being made over there are totally made of laminated glasses. Yeah.
I'll move to next question.
Yes.
Can glass door, can glass door can be printed?
Yes. So I have seen this in many places that people ask me that my glass door is clear. Should we paint it or not according to the standard? According to the standard, you can paint, you can print logos, you can put up designs on a glass, but the only point is that it should have around 40% of visibility. That is, the person standing inside the elevator should be able to see outside around 40%. Other than that, you can have a whole printing on that glass. And it is suggested that always use ceramic prints or digital printing, that is UV printing. Don't put any kind of stickers or any kind of labels onto the glass, because it will hamper the glass. Even the adhesive which is used in those films can develop marks or can damage the glass in a way of aesthetic.
Next question is for a capsule cabin, curved glass are available in standard size. For those are or those are always has to be make to order.
So this is a point that depends on you. For example, if you're having a fixed diameter of your capsule lift that you're not going to make above this size, then we can have a standard size. You can give your vendor standard size that I will be needing this curve bend every time. But for example, if you're making the capsule lift according to the client's requirement, it is having a different sizes every time. Then we have to go for make to order. We can't go into standardization.
Next question is from Mr. Ulhas. Is it possible to retrofit glass in old metallic lift car?
Certainly, sir. If I tell the old lift cars, I don't know what is the weight load of them already given. Because if you're using around a 4 or 5 steel, the weight of that then converting into a 8 or 9 glass, the weight will increase. So you will automatically have to increase the power of the motor which is running the cabin up and down. So it also depends on the motor which is being used. If you're upgrading the motor, you can surely upgrade the elevator car with glass.
Is there any other questions from the attendees? Please put it down. We can wait for like more 1 minute. So, Vivek, I think so. There are no further questions. Vivek, thank you once again for sharing this, sharing your expertise with the industry. Um, as I know that in this session and talking about elevator glass, so today we have learned that the glass is not just about looks, it is about safety standards and quality.
Yes, and I would
Yes,
really like if the people in the market should follow these all steps so that we can make elevator a very safe place for someone to
safe
travel.
place. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will also thanks all the attendees who have joined us today and who likes to learn every day about the industry and about the elevators and escalators. Thanks a lot. And as a reminder, I will tell you that this webinars happens every Tuesday. Our next webinar is going to happen on 19th May. So see you again on the next Tuesday. So let's stay connected and have a good evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hulas. Uh, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.